Hello and welcome back. I'm Joseph Hoffman, and today we're going to be learning a very old and famous folk tune from England, Greensleeves. Hence, the Greensleeves.
Ha ha, very funny, Mr. Hoffman.
Oh, thank you, Scuba. I thought you might like that one. It so happens that the melody Greensleeves, which we are listening to right now, that's the same melody used in the well-known Christmas carol, What Child Is This?
I love that Christmas song.
I do too. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Mr. Hoffman, who composed Greensleeves?
Well, Scuba, the melody for Greensleeves was composed by someone so long ago, hundreds of years ago, back in the 16th century, we think. But it was basically written so long ago that nobody knows or remembers who the composer was. The best folk songs simply get passed from person to person, generation to generation. The best music simply lives on because the melodies have something special that makes them stay with us.
I see. This melody really does have a special sound to it.
I'm glad you like it. Well, let's check out the sheet music to get started learning it. Here's the sheet music for Greensleeves. Let's analyze this score. We're going to be playing Gently Flowing. And if you notice, we just have a treble staff here, which tells us we'll be in lead sheet style. That means we've just got the melody notated with chord symbols up above. Today we'll learn how to play the melody, and in a later lesson we'll add in an accompaniment using the chord symbols. But these chord symbols may come in handy to analyze what key we are in. Do you see a key signature? We've got our clef, we've got a time signature. In between there is normally where we'd place some flats or sharps if we had a key signature with flats or sharps. Since we don't see any flats or sharps there, that tells us we're in one of which two keys. We're either in C major or A minor. From our ladder of fourths or fifths, those are the two keys that have zero sharps or flats. So how do we know which one? We'll take a look at the first note or possibly the first chord, and that's a clue. What key do you predict that we are in? If you said A minor, you're correct. The melody begins on an A. Our first chord is A minor. If you look at the last note and chord, we have an A and we have an A minor chord. Clearly from our key signature, our starting and ending notes, we know we're in A minor. Now, what is our time signature? It's 6/8. Let's see, I'll go right here. 6/8, you'll recall from an earlier lesson, simply means that there are 6 eighth note beats per measure. Instead of counting every quarter note as one beat, we're counting every eighth note as one beat, and there's 6 of them in every measure. The thing is, if you look at this first measure, do you see 6 eighth notes in that measure? No, because sometimes in music we have what's called a pickup beat, where we don't begin on beat 1. Remember, these bar lines show you where beat 1 is. We know the first note or rest after a bar line is always beat 1. And beat 1 is our strong beat. It's where the emphasis in the music lies. But sometimes in music you don't want to start on a strong beat. So if we count backwards from beat 1, what would be the last beat in the measure? Here's an eighth note. It has to be beat 6, counting backwards from the bar line. Because we know the last beat of the measure is beat 6. So here we start with 6/1. And that gives the sound that the original composer, again, whoever that was, they didn't want a sound of ba-ba, they wanted ba-ba. A more gentle sound, 6/1. And then, remember, because eighth notes are our beat, a quarter note has to be 2 beats, because you can fit 2 eighth notes inside 1 quarter note, right? So we have 2 beats for this quarter note, 6/1-2. Here's beat 3. Now here we have a dotted eighth note. Remember, an eighth note equals 1 beat. So when we add a dot to a note, it extends it by 50% or by half. So instead of just 1 beat, it's going to get 1.5 beats. So we're going to give it the first half of beat 5 The second half of beat 5 belongs to this 16th note. 4, 5, and. That and will sit right in between beats 5 and 6. Remember, the and marks the halfway point between beats. 4, 5, and 6. Let's listen to this rhythm. We get ba, 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 4, 5, and 6. Can you tap and count that with me? Let's just count 4, 5, and 6 while you tap that rhythm on your lap or anywhere you like. Ready? Count it with me. Go. 4, 5, and 6. Again, go. 4, 5, and 6. And if in this song, that will be ba, 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 4, 5, and 6. That's kind of a lilting sound. This rhythm is fairly common in 6/8 meter because it has such a fun lilt to it. Da, 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 da. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Can you try tapping and counting this rhythm? Let's start right here on beat 6. I'll count 5 beats to get us ready, and then we'll start on beat 6. Tap and count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Very good. Now, I'd like you to pause the video and on your own write in the counts for measure 2, then press play and we'll try it together. To get your own copy, remember you can download and print this from our website. And when you write in your own counts into your sheet music, try to line up the beats with the notes they represent. Otherwise, it may not be as helpful. So here's beat 1. After the bar line is always beat 1. This quarter note needs 2 beats, so we give it 1, 2. This 8th note gets 3. That gets a beat all to itself because it's an 8th note. Then this dotted 8th note gets 1.5 beats, 4, and the first half of 5. This and represents the second half of 5, and then beat 6. Hey, it's the same rhythm we just had a measure before. Okay, so same rhythm 2 times in a row. Now, what about this measure? What do you notice? It's the same rhythm again. Now, you may notice because of how this music is laid out on the page, it seems a little more spread out. But one thing I want you to notice, and maybe you already knew this, but it doesn't matter how far you stretch out an 8th note. The distance between notes doesn't mean anything in music. If you see this and this, it's the same rhythm. T, 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 T. Sometimes in music, you have to stretch things out because maybe you're writing a really long word underneath that one note. Or maybe you just have more room on that line. But again, just like if you write the word and really long, doesn't mean you necessarily have to say and. You can still just say and. And in music, no matter how wide apart the notes are, it doesn't change how fast you play them. The only thing that determines it is the notes themselves. It's a quarter note, so it will still get 2 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We'll play it exactly the same way, same speed, same rhythm as these previous measures. Now, how would you write in the counts for this measure? Pause the video and on your own, see if you can write in the counts. Try and line up the beats with each note, then press play to go on. Here's what you should have written. Check and see that you got that correct. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you'll notice this little curved line, which is the start of a phrase mark. And you'll see it goes off the edge because this is the start of our next phrase that goes here. It's also kind of a pickup, 6, 1. So we don't want to think of this note as belonging to this phrase. We want to kind of think of this as the end of a phrase and this the start of a new sentence. Phrase marks can kind of show you where a period would go if music were written in regular sentences. Just like a period says the end of a sentence, a phrase mark can tell you the end of a musical phrase and where a new one begins. So now, on your own, I'd like you to pause the video and try tapping this rhythm while you count the beat out loud. Then press play and we'll try it together. Before we try tapping this together, I want to remind you that in 6/8, there's a strong beat on beat 1, which is always true in any time signature. But there's also another strong-ish beat on beat 4. That's just how 6/8 is grouped. The beats are kind of in little mini groups of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So thinking about a little bit of extra strength on beat 1 and on beat 4, let's tap and count the beat. We'll tap the rhythm while we count the beat. I will count 5 beats to get us ready, and then we'll start on beat 6. So try tapping and counting with me. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's the start of our next phrase. Now let's come to the piano and try to play it. All right, we have finger 1 starting on this treble A. And then you'll notice right off the bat, we go up a third to this C, but it's asking for finger 2. As you get to these more advanced melodies, there's going to be lots of hand shifts and some crossovers in this. So really watch carefully both the pitch on the staff as well as the finger numbers to guide you. We have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3. Now notice our finger 2 has to glide over. We're skipping down a third. Finger 2's got to cross over. 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, notice that I had to do a few little finger adjustments. Follow the fingerings very carefully. I'd like you to pause the video and work on measures 1 through 4 on your own. Try it several times until you feel confident. Also, try counting out loud as you play to make sure you're getting the rhythms correct. Then press play and we'll try it together. All right, let's try playing this melody together. Get finger 1 on A, finger 2 on C. I'll count 5 beats to get us ready, and then we'll start on beat 6. All right, see if we can stay together, and I'm going to take a nice adagio tempo for practice. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For bonus points, make sure you get that decrescendo. That's a beautiful way to end a phrase, with a nice decrescendo. Now, if you were able to play along with me, great job. If you had a few bumps along the way, pause the video again and keep practicing on your own until you can stay with me at that adagio tempo. I like to think there's no point in practicing fast if you can't even play it slow. Slow it down. I tell my students again and again, slow it down so you can master it quickly, and then you'll be able to speed it back up to full speed. And this song, by the way, isn't meant to go fast. The tempo indication was gently flowing, so it never needs to go faster than. But when you're first learning it, maybe it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Take your time to learn it correctly before you go on. Now, again, if you need more time, you can pause. Otherwise, let's take a look at this next phrase. Remember, the next phrase begins with beat 6 of measure 4 right here. 6, and then it goes to measure 5. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3. Same as before so far, but here it changes in measure 7. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. Notice now we've got a G sharp and an F sharp. Starting in measure 7, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, pause the video and on your own, work on measures 5 through the end of the melody. Then press play to go on. Now, as you're practicing this, I want to challenge you to learn good practice techniques, which means starting slow, watching the finger numbers, trying to follow the dynamics, and using a metronome. I usually recommend getting comfortable with the notes in your hand first before you try with metronome. That means playing through it a few times, kind of getting the basic idea, but then quickly you want to add in the metronome to make sure you're keeping a steady beat. You might start around 88 beats per minute, and this will be your 8th note beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then as you get comfortable, you may speed up from that adagio tempo to a more andante around 108, maybe your final target speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Great work learning how to play the folk melody Greensleeves. Practice this melody until you feel confident, and then you'll be ready to add chords in the left hand soon. Happy practicing, and see you next time. Wow, I want to write a song like Greensleeves. I want to come up with a song so special that people will be singing and playing it for hundreds of years. Mr. Hoffman, can you teach me how to do that? Well, Scuba, there's no formula for creating a great folk song. It's like any kind of composing. You just have to try putting some notes together. You either hear them in your head or you try it out on the piano. And when you've got something you like, you write it down and share it. But how will I know if I've made a song that's going to be really famous for a long, long time? No one can know that for sure, Scuba. No one can say which songs will be passed along and which ones will be forgotten. Oh.
Hey, Scuba, even if the song you come up with never becomes famous, if you share it with us, with all of your friends, we'll enjoy it.
Me too. I'd love to hear a song that you compose, Scuba.
That's true. No matter what, I can share the music I make with all of my friends. I'm going to get to work right now.
Good luck, Scuba. I can't wait to hear what he comes up with.